Welcome to this here thriving moment, brought to you by the Sovereign Light Radio Broadcast Anchor FM, and made also available on 6 other different platform distributions. Live from North York, Ontario, Canada, I am your hostess, Reverend Maria Arbanatides, and straight out of a place, well, north part of Adelaide, east end of Oshawa, Ontario. Here with us today, our very special guest, Joe Duarte. Wow, Joe, how are you today?
Yeah, well, how are you?
Great. So nice to have you on here. Joe Duarte is going to be speaking to us about nutrition, fitness, and spiritual strength. Joe was born in Lisbon, Portugal, February 5th, 1967. His father was South African from his mother's side, who originated from Angola. That would be South Africa. In Portugal, his father attended the Sporting Soccer Academy as a youth and played on the Sporting Club of Portugal team for a few years. He got married to Joe's mother and went into banking. In 1972, Joe's father, with very little English and 2 children, and his wife had decided to immigrate to Canada. In 1972, Joe at the time was 5 and his sister Paula was 2. Joe's father became a welder and they moved into a beautiful home in Scarborough. And that's when it was back in 1983. That would probably be 37 years ago or something like that. It was my very first job. And I was like maybe 14 and a half, working at Harvest Donuts is where I met Joe. I really don't remember what kind of donut or coffee he had back then. Shepherd and Warden and Shepherd. This is like back in Scarborough days. And so Joe lived there until he met a girl at the age of 18 and had decided to start a family of his own. He later moved on from Scarborough and traveled further east again to Orona. I've never really heard about this place in Clarington somewhere, and then to Whitby after a few marriages, had 4 sons, and to add to his father-bearing years, and an extra 2 daughters that he married into. For the past 15 years, or, correct me if I'm wrong, is that right? Is that
close?
Yeah, pretty close. Okay, well, for the past 15 years, somewhere in Oshawa now he's residing, and where he owns a house in the north part of Adelaide, east end of Oshawa, Ontario. As a semi-retired cashier in Costco.
We'll leave the whole what do you do for a living thing out of it. You don't need to go into details like that, I don't think.
Okay, sure. I'm just thinking this is all about celebrating life while we're alive. And how we want to present ourselves and our light that we share with others, and particularly me wanting to get to know my friends and who they really are, because I'm astounded by the things and the information out of this that I'm getting that I never even knew about Joe Duarte, you see? And so it kind of helps me to resonate even more with you on a deeper level, because as you know, Joe, I immigrated here at the same age as you have. I don't think you even know that. And I was 5 and a half, and it was 1975. I know even the month, March, and the first place we landed was Montreal with Olympic Airways. And I didn't even speak a word of English. And my father and mother moved here from Greece, and we immigrated here, and I was having such a tough time. I even failed grade 1 try. They didn't even have ESL back then. So this is where I didn't know anything about Joe. I mean, so many years later, we meet up on Facebook, and it's like, wow, it's like, And so this is, I want to know how real these Facebook friends are and everybody that is in my circle, so that, we get together and we unite and we become stronger with our light, you see? And, because this is how we strengthen our spirit. And so, okay. And, today is about nutrition, fitness, and spiritual strength. Again, it makes Joe happy to be a night stalker, stocking shelves. One, and tire center tech propane station guy. He loves walking 15 to 25 kilometers a day. Like, wow. Lots of heavy lifting and pushing 800 to 1,000 pounds of carts out on the lot, because in his mind, he is getting paid for all this physical work. I think that's awesome. What a club to belong to, right? The Costco Club. And, Joe's not out to change anyone's views or opinions, their perspective and how they see things, but he now feels more alive than ever doing what he does, as he gets paid for doing so.
Can you see that?
What is that? Oh,
that's my activity from yesterday.
Your opinion?
My activity.
Oh, your activity. Okay, well, tell us more about that.
No, it's just what I did through the course of the day as far as steps and how far I walked. Can you read that?
Yes, I could see it too. Right.
22 kilometers.
How do you manage that? Wow.
I'm pretty used to it.
Oh, I can just imagine how many shoes you go throughout the year through runners.
Yeah, 30,000 steps, 22 kilometers, 22.8. It's a fairly busy day.
Yeah. So everything you do, it tracks every step you make throughout the day?
Yeah, that's just I track my activity levels 2 ways. Through my phone has the app that tracks your or tracks my steps, and then calculates the mileage that I've walked, the kilometers that I've walked, and I also have a Garmin
Smartwatch?
watch that will track my steps and mileage by GPS, along with heart rate, which gives me a more accurate reading indication of calories used. It's the most accurate way to track how many calories you use. You can guess, but anything that's heart rate based will actually, give you a more accurate number. So, which will help me determine how much I should be eating in order to achieve my health goals. But we can talk about that later when we're ready.
Well, you want to share with us how it is that you keep a food log, and I thought you were doing that manually, and the training that you get, the discipline you have to commit 2 hours of your day, physical workout. I don't know what kind of training is involved. I'd like to know more about that. And, aside from working at Costco, and how you have completely changed your eating lifestyle. You're saying through working out, then your eating has changed, or was it through the eating that your physical? How does it work?
Well, it takes both: proper eating, proper diet, and then obviously physical activity. So I was always very physically active, as you may remember. In my teens, I used to work out quite a bit and run, and I was always fairly active right up until my probably mid-30s, and I guess that's when I started making mistakes. And people blame it, very often they blame it on aging, or their metabolism is slowing down.
Right.
But it's true, after the 30, your metabolism does slow down a little bit. But we're talking about like 0.5% per year, if that. Which really, it amounts to what, like maybe you're burning like 50 fewer calories through the course of a day. But people will use that as a crutch. I did, and most of the people I know that have a weight problem, they use that as a bit of a crutch. Oh, it's my hormones, or I'm getting older. I can't do what I used to do. And so that's where I was in my mid-30s. Lifestyle changes, right? I wasn't as active as I used to be. I was more focused on my career. Didn't make time for exercise. My diet became pretty much more of like a modern diet, whereas you're eating fast food. You're not really planning your meals for nutrition and health. And so that builds up. So that's when I started struggling with my weight. I went from 165 at that point, which has been pretty consistent since my late teens. And I got up to, I guess by the time I was 39, I got up to about 208 pounds, which for me, I'm only 5'6". That's a lot of weight, right?
I was going to ask you, yes.
And so at that point, I made a decision when I turned 40 to do something about it. I had some friends that were into running. So I said, you know what, I'll give that a shot, right? It's supposed to be good exercise, running. So I started off, and I was so horrible at it that I would only go out at night. I wouldn't go out running during the day. So at night, I wait till it got dark enough. Okay, I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna try and go around the block without anybody seeing me. And so I did that for several months, and I did start to lose weight. I thought I was eating well because I didn't eat as many desserts. I tried to avoid desserts. I have a sweet tooth. And so I went from 208 over the course of maybe 2 years it took. I got down to 180. So I was doing running, I was doing mountain biking, but the nutrition side of things, I wasn't really setting myself up for the success that I should have, considering how hard I was working at it, right? And anyway, so I'm not sure. I went through some difficult times, and I got away from running. I stopped running, and then over the course of a few years, I got back. I started a couple times hitting up over 200 pounds again, and I guess it was this past March. March of this year. I got up to 204, and I said, you know, that's enough is enough. I cut out sweets, desserts, and so on, dropped down to 197, I guess beginning of April. And that's when I decided, you know what, let me research and find out how I can fix myself. So I very quickly realized that you can mess up your body metabolically once you put on a certain amount of weight. Fat, it really messes up your body. You become like insulin resistant. Doesn't matter what you eat or how little you eat, it's really hard to lose any weight, substantial weight. So that's where I realized from doing some research that when you get to that point where you really messed up your body, to the point that you're struggling with weight, you can't, you don't have energy, and you can't lose weight, you don't like the way you look. You need to take some drastic steps initially to kind of kickstart your metabolism again, and to kind of fix what your body's doing metabolically. And so what I did, I went on intermittent fasting. And what that is you have an 8-hour window in a day where you eat, and then the rest of the day you don't eat. So I would typically start eating at 12 or 1 o'clock noon, 12 noon, 1 p.m. And my eating window would go until about 8:30, 9 p.m. And then I wouldn't eat. So that, along with exercise, and again, it's just getting your body moving. We're made to move, and if we don't move, we're not using up energy. So I made a decision to make sure I was walking at least 6 kilometers a day, and where possible, I would walk maybe 8 or 10. And having the job that I have luckily allowed me to take that a little bit further because the activity I do at work. So if you have more of a sedentary job where you're at a desk, or you don't move around a whole lot for 8 hours a day, it's probably more important that you do more activity and exercise outside of work. because that's what your body needs. You need to use up the energy that you're
Can I interrupt there for a minute? How many hours of sleep? Like you say, you start eating at 12 and then at 8:30 twice a day. But then how many hours of sleep? When do you go to sleep and when do you wake up? And do you do this every day, like the same?
Yeah, well, because most of my shifts end at 11 or 11:30 p.m.
Okay.
I usually go to sleep until like 1.
Okay.
I'm getting up at 9.
8 hours.
Yeah, 7, 8 hours.
That's important.
So that's because it's my schedule, right? If someone, because I work till 11, 11:30, at night, I don't get home till midnight. I can't be in bed at 9 p.m. That wouldn't work for me. I don't see people, I'm in bed by 9, I'm up at 4 in the morning. Well, I don't get home till midnight.
So you eat twice a day?
Initially, it was twice a day. And so that's what I did for the first maybe 3-4 months. So I went from started pouring at the beginning of April. I was at 197 at that point. And by Labor Day, I got down to 158 pounds. So that's
Wow.
And since high school, probably, right? And at that point, I've increased the amount of food I was eating, and I opened up my window. Now at this point, I can eat. I get up, I eat. I'll have like 4 or 5 meals a day.
Okay.
I've increased the amount of calories that I eat. I have to force myself to eat enough, actually, to maintain. Now I'm back in the gym lifting weights. I'm trying to build up some more weight, and so which means I need to eat more. Right. And if you're eating the right foods, it actually should be difficult for you to eat enough.
Eating the right foods, does that mean whatever it is you crave, whatever your body's telling you want to eat?
No, you should. It's not as complicated as what a lot of people make it.
Okay.
Once you realize the things you should try and avoid and the things you should be trying to eat. So, for instance, things that you should be trying to avoid would be they're very dense in calories, where like half a cup of something will be 400 or 500 calories. Versus if you have like a cup of something and it's like 60 calories. You see what I'm talking about? So if you eliminate, and this is very, very simple. If you eliminate initially, when you're trying to lose the majority of your weight, you're at the top and you want to get to your goal weight, at which point your body actually becomes like a furnace burning
Wow.
food like more. The things you need to avoid, what I did, I avoided simple carbohydrates. So I avoided all candy, all desserts, my coffee, which used to be double, black
That's
coffee.
right. Okay.
Right? Because a coffee alone, if you have a medium double from Tim Hortons, that's 240 calories.
Okay.
My coffee is like maybe 3 calories. So there's some very easy things you can do to reduce the amount of calories you're consuming, which is going to be, I mean, if you're not eating properly, you can't exercise enough. There's like, you'd have to exercise 10, 12 hours a day, and you probably would still be eating too much if you're eating the wrong stuff. So you potato, like desserts, sugar has to go, right? Rice, pasta is absolutely evil. I still avoided. I'm eating a lot of the other foods that I avoided initially, but pasta is absolutely incredibly horrible for you because it's very calorie dense. It has very little nutrition, and it's very easily and quickly absorbed by your body, which will make you fat. So yeah, potatoes, rice, pasta, breads I avoided for a very long time. And what I did eat, so it would be like a low carb diet, but it's not really a low carb diet. It's avoid the bad carbs.
Okay.
People, the majority of the diet is made up with these really bad carbs. So you're consuming a amount of calories over the course of the day without even realizing it. And I'll give you an example why that's bad. The average male probably needs, average 160-pound male probably needs 2,000 calories a day to maintain his weight and to survive and have the energy to, to work through a day. The average female, again, that's probably 135 pounds, probably needs 1,700 calories a day. Now, the problem is, from what I've read, is the average person is eating the average diet, Canadian diet, American diet, eating 3,500 calories a day. So if you only need, say, 1,700 to 2,000 calories, and you're eating 3,500, over the course of a few years, you're going to put on 20, 30, 40 pounds, right? So that's where you need to realize there's an imbalance between what you're eating and what you're doing exercise-wise. That's setting up for failure every year, after year, after year. Just, that's how I went from 165. A few years later, I was 170, and I was 170. It just keeps, the more years living like that, the further down this road to being unhealthy that you're.
Well, what about people like, okay, I'm going to just use me as an example. I don't mean to get all just on me all the time, but for those who resonate alongside this, emotional eaters, people who go through bouts of depression and feel suicidal thoughts, or, they just lost a loved one, let's say, like for me, my mother. What would you recommend? And they use the food as comfort food. And I remember my mother too. That's all she really had to live for in the last years of her life was food. And food would make her happy. And you could use especially pasta. That was her favorite food. And say, Mom, you see? What I want to say here is emotional eaters. What would you recommend to get them out of that stuck feeling depressed state?
Yeah. So, I myself, I dealt with depression for many years. So, I fully understand. And that's probably when I gained most of my weight too, right?
Was that really?
I gained most of my weight, like, whenever these number of years I've had depression or dealing with depression, which everybody does, I think, to a certain extent. So I think we have to realize, right, that we were trained since little kids, babies, to find pleasure in food and comfort.
Right.
So you need to understand that. We've been programmed, unfortunately, since little to find comfort in food. So that's why we, as adults, and there's something going on in our lives we're not happy with, depression, issues, job issue, family health issue, we gravitate towards food for comfort. But so you need to realize that. And once you realize, you can take some steps to avoid it. So
it's a slow suicide, is what I'm saying. We don't know it, but it's similar to smoking and maybe perhaps an addiction. But we have it in our minds psychologically to kill ourselves with food, and I think it's these suicidal thoughts. But then we,
once you realize that, then maybe you can take some actions to counteract it. Right. So realize, I'm needing food because I feel good, but also know if you have goals, if you've set out goals for yourself that you want to be healthier, you want to live longer, like for instance, the COVID-19 situation, right? They found out that 87% of people end up in ICU are obese.
Is it because they want to kill themselves? Is this what they had in mind?
I don't think they want to kill themselves. They just want to enjoy food.
Subconsciously, maybe it's
a health risk, right? Being obese, being overweight is a health risk. I felt incredibly unhealthy when I was at 200, right? Feel much healthier at a lower body weight. And so once you realize there are health risks associated with being obese, that alone should be motivation to set a goal to fix it.
Right.
So it's up to you. Not everybody's going to want to do it or want to do it, but if you want to do it and you want to set that, you have to set that as a goal. You need to set it as a goal that you want to, fix yourself, that you want to be healthy, you want to live longer, you want to avoid ending up in ICU with COVID. Right? That's a good in this day and age. I don't think COVID is going to wait for a long time, right? So you set that as a goal, and you realize that food should be a tool and not for giving you comfort. It should be a tool to use to fuel yourself and make yourself healthy versus making yourself unhealthy.
I guess there's many reasons. I guess there's many reasons why people decide that they let their bodies go. Maybe for protection. I would think maybe some people feel like they need more space, to occupy more space, because people don't acknowledge them. That, maybe it has to do with also a hormonal imbalance for people who get into the years of, even for men, not just women in menopause, but maybe there's a hormonal imbalance that's causing all of these
You
things.
can see a doctor, right? Absolutely. But it doesn't, again, the hormonal imbalance will play a very small part in going down that road to being unhealthy.
Okay.
But definitely, everyone feels should visit the doctor, at least once a year. So yeah, I mean, I do have myself many years a thyroid problem, so I do take medication to fix that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So even having my hormone levels fixed and my thyroid activity corrected with medication, I still went from 180 to 108 pounds. So that, the medication is not going to be the cure that fixes you. It might help you, but again, it's going to be a very small percentage of benefit if you're taking things to correct your hormones and thyroid and so on, right? What you do is going to have a much greater impact, right? So the amount of exercise you get, what you're eating, your nutrition, your attention to detail with your nutrition, that's going to be probably 99% of the battle is what you do. And again, you have to choose to do it. You have to choose to make it a priority, or you're just going to be spinning your wheel. You choose to do it or choose not to do it. So let's make that decision.
I don't really remember, but were you ever a smoker?
Oh yeah.
And when did you stop smoking?
I stopped for 8 years. My youngest was born, and then about 5 years ago, I started smoking again. I smoked for 3 years, and I quit 2 years ago by vaping. So I do vape nicotine, but I feel it's not doing as much damage to my body as smoking. So that's a step in the right direction for me.
You're still vaping?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's one thing I want to again eliminate over the next year. But yeah, it's an addiction. I still enjoy it. There you go.
Wow.
So where was I?
Yeah.
So
Go ahead. Sorry.
a male needs 2,000 calories a day. Female needs 700 calories a day. And if you track the food that you're eating, you will be surprised how many calories they're consuming in the course of a day or a week. And that's where the weight comes in. So you don't have to starve yourself. The whole time that I was, losing weight through a combination of exercise and proper nutrition, I never once felt like I was deprived of food or I never was hungry ever. Because you can eat a ridiculous amount of food and still be below your. Even when I was going through the initial phase of losing my weight, I was forcing myself to eat enough, because once you've measured out your nutritional requirements, the macros, which are your protein, your carbohydrates, your fats, and as a percentage of your daily intake, so you have targets. And once you determine calories that you need for your body weight, height, age, to be in a deficit. So the goal is to lose weight, you have to be in a caloric deficit, right? Your body's going to use X amount of calories. You need to eat this many calories. Have a deficit. Over time, you will lose weight. I mean, it's really that simple. It's calories in, calories out. You can either gain weight or you can lose weight.
And what's your app called? Is there like a
So
particular
there's a few things that I use. There's a really good app for tracking your caloric intake for the day. It's called Track by Nutritionix. It's free. It's available for iPhones and Android. It's a super easy app to use. You can scan labels if you buy a loaf of bread or a can of salmon or whatever the case is. You can scan the barcode and it'll enter it in. It finds. I haven't found anything that it doesn't have in its database. But you can key stuff in too. So quite often I eat a lot of eggs. You can type in search egg, it pulls up egg, whether it's small, medium, large, and then the quantity.
Oh, there's so much I want to ask you. That's right. I remember you being an avid fish eater. Now, are you still consuming fish? Is that right?
Oh yeah, probably 3-4 times a week.
Okay, and you're a meat eater then? Are you okay with that for me to say that?
Oh yeah, yeah. So
watch out nowadays.
If anyone is interested in just finding out what their daily targets should be to achieve, the weight that be healthier for them, if they're having issues with weight, there's 2 things you need to do. Yeah, I guess 3 things to do.
Okay.
You can just go online and look up calorie estimator. So there's online tools. You basically will plug in your current weight, your age, your height, male, female, and how much you either want to gain. Because there's some people who are underweight and they want to gain weight. And they realize they're probably not eating enough. Or if you want to lose weight, and they say you should lose no more than 1% of your body weight per week. So if you're at 200 pounds, you can lose 2 pounds a week. Once you get a little bit leaner, it'll be be less aggressive. But once you determine how much you want to lose, let's start at 1.5 pounds a week. It'll estimate, and you can plug in what your activity level is, how often you work out, how long, intensity level, or if you don't work out at all, you can still lose weight. You just need to eat less. So you plug in all the variables online on one of these calculators, and it'll tell you how much you should be eating calorie-wise.
And this is your logbook that you were talking about?
Oh, there's many online tools, calorie estimators, that'll tell you how much you should be eating in a day. So like I said, you have to plug in your age, your height, your current weight with male, female, activity level, and it'll give you an estimate of how much you should eat every day.
So simple, it used to be so difficult. We used to do it like manually on an actual physical carbon.
No, it's online tools. It's very, very easy. Nowadays, it's so much easier. Like when I was younger. Yeah, it's almost, well, it's very simple, right? So people just either don't know that these tools exist, very plentiful, or they haven't made the decision to use. So that's what I did, right? You determine your caloric needs. In turn, you should use in combination, it's called a macro calculator. Your ratio of protein, carbohydrate, fat. So for instance, for myself, I know I need to eat a minimum 165 grams of protein every day, especially if I'm in a caloric deficit, because that'll preserve your muscle tissue, which is metabolic. So you need to make sure as you're losing weight, you're preserving as much muscle, lean mass as you can, because that's the metabolic tissue, which uses up calories, and it keeps you strong, obviously. And if you diet incorrectly, and you're not eating enough protein, and you're not exercising, you could lose some muscle mass. Up to 25% of the weight that you lose will be muscle mass. So yeah, I lost 40 pounds, maybe at least 6-7 pounds of that was muscle. Because if you're losing weight, you're always gonna lose a little bit of muscle. So that's where the macros come in. You need to understand how much protein you will need to consume every day to help preserve it, because that's really important.
So, Joe, where can people find you if they want to reach out to you? I know you're on Facebook, and I have a thread to link people up to you. They want to reach out and Facebook friend you and your profile. But do you have also a Twitter account? Do you have like an Instagram?
I don't really use much of anything like that. Just Facebook. I don't have a whole lot of time for social media, but yeah, if anybody wants to reach out, Facebook's probably the easiest way.
And what about, do you have a Twitter account?
I never use it.
Okay. What about Instagram? You have anything Instagram?
Yeah, I never use it. Not enough time in a day. Not enough time in a day for me.
Okay, and like I don't know, LinkedIn or anything? Just you have it?
Yeah,
Nothing?
I don't use that. No.
Okay, I just wanted to know, maybe you might be connected to any other social media platforms that people can reach out to you and just even hang out with you, you know. I mean, like what club you belong to, you know, workout, maybe you want to get a group going or something, you know. This is where you can find Joe. Reach out to him on Facebook. And there's another thing I want to ask you now. I've been attempting to lose weight now. I've just put it on my mind. I've reached 200 pounds and it just keeps going. And it's like, no, I gotta stop, please, right? And so I started going on a bicycle. I've been doing 15 kilometers, but now with the winter months coming on, I've been trying to do things like push-ups.
Yeah.
And I started, as of this week, doing push-ups. And I can remember I used to be so physically fit. I used to outdo my teacher in phys ed, my phys ed teacher.
Yeah, you were very athletic back, years ago.
Right. And now, I mean, I could do like 40, 50 push-ups. Okay. I used to go swimming to the UFT, and then I would cycle there, cycle back, do push-ups. And now I'm like, oh, I just started getting 10 push-ups out of me every morning and at night, you know. And all of a sudden I feel like, oh, I better stop because I'm feeling a hernia coming on in my lower belly, right, in my lower abdomen. And I'm like, I better stop. So now I'm feeling the muscles that I haven't worked before. And this is exactly the place I wanted to focus on, to lose weight and strengthen my lower back and, not have a belly anymore. Just, I don't want to get to that stage where, okay, if I lose weight, it's not just stretch marks, it's like a flab that I have to do plastic surgery. That really scared me. So now I'm trying to tone up. And I had to stop last night because all of a sudden I'm like, I don't want to end up in ICU or the hospital with what's going on because I have a hernia, right? So I got to take care of myself once I don't feel that pain anymore. I'm like in actual real pain, right? Especially on my left side. And so I can't even say it's my appendix or anything. It's mostly like I'm feeling, okay, as soon as I felt that sharp pain, I stopped. And now I have to make sure that it heals. And then I can go back to doing push-ups again. I want to be able to do 40, 50 push-ups easy, right? It's like, what's happened to me? I don't know. Do you think it is a hernia? Maybe I'm just,
Yeah, it's just your muscles need to adapt, right? They're probably a little weaker from not being used. So you just need to kind of ease in slowly.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, great. You doing push-ups? Yeah, you know what? For the first couple of months, don't really push yourself too hard. You have to ease into it slowly, right? You have to let
you push yourself a little bit, otherwise how do you get anything done? Right?
You can do a few. That's great, right? Just do 10 every day. And maybe, now you can do, 20. So
Right.
I'll try to find some routines that might help you if you're do it at home. I guess you don't belong to a gym or anything on that.
Well, I'm not even able to really go jogging or running because I have to strengthen my legs. Now I'm looking at my lower abdomen that I want to strengthen that. And so this is like, wow, I'm like last time I checked, I could do 40 push-ups, right? And now it's like, what's going on? And so, yes, I really want to build that up. And as much as I can, I even went cycling in the rain on Sunday. And it's like,
in the rain could be a little dangerous. It's slippery. So if I could recommend to you, I will send you links to the tools that I've mentioned.
Okay.
Determine your calories, the tools you can look at your macros, a tool to track your food. Okay, I'll send you those 3 links.
And I will post them for everybody else who wants to get connected and kind of push themselves, not too much to the extent you get a hernia, but you know, your body sends you signals and signs. And, you know, when you feel this sharp pain, that's when you stop, right?
Oh yeah, if you feel pain, you need to stop.
Okay. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, make sure you're warming up properly before even attempting push-ups. Push-ups aren't necessarily a warm-up because they can be pretty stressful on the body. So you have to make sure you warmed up your body.
How do you warm up and stretch your stomach muscles, your lower abs? Then how do you do that?
I've been doing twists and bends, dynamic stretching. So you always start at the top, right? You'd start by doing head, rolling exercises. Then you work to your shoulders, shoulder shrugs, shoulder rolls. Then you go to your arms, right? You put out your arms, you do shoulder or arm circles forward, 10 times, and arm circles backwards 10 times. Then you do twists, maybe 10, 20 twists, right? Gentle twist to the sides. Then bending down to the left, to the right, do that, 10 times a side. Then, circles with your hips, right? You can warm up your body from the top and you work your way down. So again, there's videos online, warm up routines, right? Look up on YouTube. But anything that gets your body, if you're moving your body from the top, working your way down, joint by joint, will get the blood flowing into the muscle tissue, which will prevent it from getting injured.
Okay.
So that's very important. Even before you do push-up, you need to warm up your body. It honestly takes 5 minutes to do a warm-up, 8 minutes. And at that point, you can go down and you can do your push-ups safely, much safer anyways, because you've already warmed up your body. And a shot can get into, there's not, no, blood flow in there. It's not warmed up, and now you're pull something and you feel that pain, that sharp pain, right? So that'll help prevent that kind of situation.
I'm surprised because push-ups really connected with me. I think for all the muscles that I need to work on.
Push-ups are great.
Yeah, I was trying to find what the proper exercise, and I found it to be push-ups. And now it's like my body's saying, where my navel area. Yes.
Just warm up for a few minutes beforehand, and don't push too hard to the point where you're in pain. You will get stronger, especially initially when you first start getting back into exercising. Your body adapts. They call it newbie gains, right? So when you're a newbie with exercising, your body adapts very quickly.
I'm trying to replace any way I can swimming, because ultimately swimming was the number one thing for me. I would do so many laps at Olympic size. Remember, I don't know, Midland Collegiate and all the schools, we used to go there for like hours and for only a loonie, and nobody would show up, and we'd have the whole Olympic size pool to ourselves. Those were the days, my friend, and now it's like I don't even have any access to any pools. And if I did with COVID, I wouldn't even, I guess even the YMCA, they have little children and the elderly there mostly, and they're contaminating everything,
So very simply, if you want to make a huge difference in your direction,
yes,
use the calculators to find out what you should be eating.
Okay.
And I'll send you a bunch of information that will help get that information that you need, the knowledge that you need, especially when it comes to what to eat, what not to eat.
Right.
Most of the stuff I've watched is, made for guys, but it all applies to women as well, right?
Oh my goodness. I remember you. I don't know if you were in a band or whatever, but now they would be considered a trans kind of gender. You had long hair back then. The guys would say they're in a band. You had long hair. You used to wear eyeliner inside your eyes, like your eyelids. And, as far as I'm concerned, in today's world, they're considered transgendered people, right? But back then they were considered, he's in a band and he plays electric guitar. I remember how much you were into that. And it's like, I don't know about this male-female now that you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know where the hair went, right? So
And yet, there's so much to say. I mean, about fatherhood and being a father now. You must have a lot of experience.
yeah, it's been an experience, that's for sure.
Is there anything you would like, any advice to give to newbie dads out there?
Oh, to newbie dads, my dear God, I don't know if I'm a
What to expect?
person to give advice. Yeah, just be patient. That's all you can really do, right? Look for advice from parents if you can, because yeah, it'll be definitely a lot of interesting stuff happening if you're not prepared for it. But I think in this day and age, I think that people are, especially men, are a lot more different. I think back when I was maybe first time as a father, wasn't very common maybe for men to be as involved uh, with
No,
their
they
kids.
weren't. But you
Yeah,
embraced your feminine side, and now
yeah.
look at you. You're like so complete, and
I mean, like guys nowadays, like I see guys at work and they're in their mid 20s, and their partners are having babies, and just hearing them talk, and yeah, it's just different. Like it's not. They've I guess men come a long way compared to 40 years ago, 35, 40 years ago.
oh
They're much more.
yeah,
From what I'm observing in the young men around, they're way more involved. So yeah, I don't. I don't think I need to give this younger generation any advice. They're doing, I think, much better. I think everyone's learned a lot over the years. So
right. And then you have this golden rule of yours that might be considered your favorite saying: "Be the best that you can be, stay positive, and help others." And
yeah,
golden
really,
rule.
yeah, it really should be that simple. I think nowadays, especially, everyone is so angry and tribal and hating each other, finding ways to be divisive, to finding ways to hate. It's just none of that resonates with me. It's not who I want to be or ever been. I feel like I like to get along and have always gotten along with everyone, right? Yeah, you know what? There's a lot of different ways to look at the world and judge it and positions to take. But to become someone that's consumed with anger and hate and I guess different groups that they, just because you have different views or different, and people need to understand that it's not all you don't have all the answers. So yeah, if you get to a point in life where you think you have all the answers, that you're right on every topic or position, and therefore it means that everyone else that doesn't agree with you is wrong, even though it makes sense in your mind that they're clearly wrong in their view, or they're living uh, not up to your standard or expectation, that they need to be condemned or hated on or canceled. What, you're in a really bad place, and there's a lot of people who are in that place in this day and age. So it's I would and you can't convince them. You will not be able to convince them to change. I don't think, unless something happens, they have a life-changing situation. But
Right. I noticed that in the hello,
this
sorry.
one from is basically, yeah, just I understand that people will think differently than I do. People
Yes.
will have different life choices. People have different priorities. I may not understand some of them. I may completely disagree, but that doesn't give me any right to have any hatred to anyone, right?
Well, see, in the past it
If
was
they disagree with me, I would still want them to be my friends,
right.
right? So
In
that's
the,
just
I think that in the past it was more underground, more hidden, and people would just snicker behind people's backs, and they were more loyal to their cult or whatever it was. But none of this would be surfacing. Right now, everything is surfacing to the top, whereas before
blowing.
it was really underground and hidden. These things that we're trying to heal on a global level, the light. It's becoming more transparent. It's no longer, the Freemasons going wild, or Anton LaVey, or Aleister Crowley, or all those dark Led Zeppelin, and all these dark influences that we had, Ozzy Osbourne, if you can remember, and all these things that were very dark and depressing. And now everything is being raised up to the light, and we're seeing it more, and it's more obvious, and they can't hide anymore. So this is what we're trying to heal on a global level.
Yeah, but some of the methods aren't necessarily conducive to healing.
They're outdated. Yes. This is why everything is going through a process of dismantling and recycling, and the new generation is moving forward and helping us to see the way.
Possibly. I just don't like some of the methods and attitudes, so it doesn't resonate with who I want to be.
It's rubbing you the wrong way, and you got to try and look within yourself and see what it is that it's so much agitating and irritating you, and work through it, and maybe release it, that part of yourself, so it doesn't agitate you and you don't see it anymore. You don't attract it.
I do have an appointment I need to get to. I think I need to.
All right. Okay. It's been a pleasure to have you on here. And with that said, maybe we can have another time where you can spend with us, and maybe play some electric guitar, or speak about more self-expression, creative self-expression, and art, and how you use your emotional expression elsewhere. Like, I know you do. You have so many things that you can share with us that I'd like to know more about, Joe Duarte.
It would be my pleasure.
Thank you so very much.
All right, I'll be sending those links to you when I get back in.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Have a good day.